Good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the lounge. Hope everybody's doing okay. Obviously, I know why you're here through the short that I sent. So, I'm going to do a few things right before we get into what you guys are here for because obviously, between YouTube, legal reasons, obviously, these people that we about to talk about got more money and lawyers and I don't know what, and I ain't on that caliber yet. So obviously, I'm gonna have to do some disclaimers. Okay, excuse me. Just bear with me for a minute. But before I get into those disclaimers and everything else like that, I want to thank you guys for your support. We're close to 60 subscribers. I know that's not a big deal in the on the big boys people and all that stuff, but for being 5 months in, I'm proud of myself, and I wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. So I want to take the moment to thank you. For you newcomers, welcome. Check out the other content that's on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe. So here are the things with this disclaimers, because obviously we don't know if this is an authorized book or an unauthorized book. All of this stuff in this book is alleged, with the combination of a combination of maybe a little truth. I don't know. Wasn't there. But have to put that disclaimer out. Pretty much majority of what I'm going to say is alleged and a combination of my own opinion. Here's another disclaimer. If you have a vice, for you ladies, if you guys going to need some wine, get that bottle of wine, box of wine, whatever you want to drink, because if you get a copy of this book, you definitely going to need it. If you into that, get you some of that, because you definitely going to need some. If you can do a little, get you that too. But let's do it. Let's make it happen. So, as you can see, I made that purchase. Shout out for Angry Man getting this out here. Everything else like that. Check that out. He touches on it a little bit. I don't think he's either gonna do a dive or I'm not sure. Other guys were talking about it too, but we'll see about that. But so here we go. So obviously I ordered this book and I started reading it. So let's. This is the part that already kind of set off my spidey sense, because the first page they wrote was a disclaimer, as you can see. And obviously, they probably wrote a disclaimer because it's unauthorized. And it says, out of protections for certain parties and their potential criminal activity, some celebrities, performers, and events have been represented with an X due to their highly explosive nature. At some point in the future, this information will be revealed to the public. So, first off, this is a 60-page book. So, you could probably get through this in an hour or two, whatever the case may be. But there was only 1 or 2 pages that really had those X's in it. So, that kind of, I don't understand it. But as far as just my nature, who I am, it obviously set off, a little sense of something's not necessarily right. And yeah, they might have their own reasons why. Obviously, just like I did my disclaimer before earlier. So, like, what stuck out with me, like, what I did like about the book was that it filled some type of timeline. If you go with it, because remember, all of this is in her words. Like for an example, like the chapter that talked about Pac. Now, people that know me, knew me for a long time, they know I'm a very big Tupac fan. Very big, very, very big. And I am going to point out something that's interesting about this book that's related to Tupac. But the chapter where they talked about him, it made me respect him even more than I already did. I already kind of respect him, but like he stood on business, and the way he stood on business was very, very like very pockish, if that's a word. I don't even know if that's a word, but he was who he was. It wasn't just for the cameras, apparently, you know. And obviously, with my short, you know, obviously you saw the news title because I'll Be Sure was the first one to come out and talk about this and threatening legal action with the authors and everything else like that. Now, the reason why I said I'm gonna point out something interesting in Pac and the writers is right. They say this is written by Jamal T. Millwood. Now, for me being a big Pac fan, I did not know this until I typed that name up on Google, the internet, or whatever the case may be. This is an alias of Tupac, Jamal T. Milford. I didn't even know that. I know some probably a bigger Pac fan than me or a super fan probably knows that. So probably laughing at me, probably gonna call me an idiot, a troll that's gonna come out the bridge, from under the bridge and tell me you're an idiot. You didn't know. I thought you said you were a Pac fan. I am still a Pac fan, but I didn't realize that was an alias. So I was, as people say today, I was today years old when I learned that that was his alias. So as I'm reading this, right, reading all the transgressions and things like that, because I really don't want to spoil the book. I don't want to give too much because, you know, give you a little mystery, like give you a chance to go out there and read it. I mean, I know people, they're taking snapshots and all this and everything else like that. I mean, me personally, I think she testified from the grave. That's my opinion. That's probably what I'm going to title this because this is, I have a feeling the feds is going to take this off the internet. This is going to be taken off the internet. So if I were you, I'd cop a copy just for that sake alone. But you know, is it true? Is it not true? It's like the way that it's read. Some things make sense. But then some of it seemed a little fluff at the same time. Like it is hard to decipher if these things are true or not. Like, so when we talk about the alleged, right, we talked about I'll Be Sure allegedly being with Diddy, you know, like, and these are rumors that's always been for years. So for the people that want to know the rumors or whatever the case may be, the way that it was written, and that's what I thought was interesting too, right? So even though he's coming out with the potential lawsuit and everything else like that, the part where they talked about him in the book was xed out. Like it was xed out, like how I read the disclaimer. So I found out very odd that it's still open to interpretation, but he comes out and wants to take legal action. I mean, that's not a conclusion for me to draw. You know, that's just what I observed. That's what I see and everything else like that. But what I also want to talk about is like not just Pac, because you know I'm looking at the book. There was some things with Biggie too, and you know for us, here's my age giving away a little something. For us, watching Pac and Biggie in real time and seeing all this stuff transpire and you know a lot of broken heartness because you know nowadays I know a lot of these younger rappers are getting killed, dying, and all of that stuff. And for us, we didn't have like that saturated rappers like that. I mean, hip hop in the '90s, they had their own what's the word I'm looking for? Like it had a subculture within the culture, if you will. So you had your conscious rap because some people like the conscious rap, some people like the gangster rap. I mean, these are all their own terms and whatever. But for us in the '90s, man, it was Pac and Biggie for the most part. You know, I like Biggie too, so I'm both their fans. So during that night, it was real volatile. If you lived on the East Coast, you had to ride with Biggie. You couldn't be a fan of both. They told you had to pick a side, and I realized that's the type of person I am. It's like I like both people, and excuse me, I get whatever beef that it is, made up, whatever you want to call it. It's like I can't like both of them. Like, yo, like I like Biggie, I like Pac, I like both their music. Can I not enjoy it? Like, without you guys being judgmental and everything else like that. Cause I was during that time I was in my mid late teens, listening to this stuff and growing up. Like, their words got me through different phases in my life. So every time I hear a Pac song or a Biggie song, it helps me reminisce. It helps me think of those sometimes good times, sometimes bad times, sometimes times where some of their music touched me, brought tears to my eye because of certain situations I was going through. Like, it was real. So, reading this, because I know people want me to read the experts out of this juicy thing. So, all right, I'm gonna give you something because I know that's what y'all here for. Y'all probably don't want to hear my opinion and whatever, whatever. So check this out. Here we go. All right. So, because like I said, I'm not gonna spoil it, but I'm gonna give you a little something. All right. Let's see what we gonna. Let me see. Uh, we. Ooh. Yeah, no, I'm gonna hold off on that one because that's gonna lead to my suspects of who really wrote this and why. Let's see where we at. Where we at? We'll do the pop chapter a little bit. Let me see. Okay, we're gonna lead to that. This is why I said Pac stood on business. Okay. So apparently, allegedly, uh, Cam Porter and Tupac had an intimate relationship, according in this book. So gonna set the I'm gonna set that up. Like I'm not gonna read that part. That you can read that on your own. But I'm gonna get to where the respect for Pac uh, came in. Okay. So so after I guess they were intimate, um, according to her, Sean didn't mind. Well, not until he tried to get Pac to join the both of us. Pac was not good with that. That's where the relationship between them became strained. Tupac wasn't going to accept Sean's advances. Pac wasn't gay. He was pissed about the advances. We were all in Sean's house. I was drinking. They were smoking. Everyone was just relaxing. Sean came in on what I'm sure he would call a smooth approach. My baby's bad, ain't she? Pac threw me a sly smile. Hell yeah. I felt myself blush. Sean was now in full swing. You think you could hit it better than me? I couldn't believe the way he was disrespectful for me in that way. I was not playing with my response. She said, Sean, what the fuck? Pac came to my defense. Damn, bro, You ain't gotta do the sister that way. Tupac appeared upset behind Sean's words, but Sean went in for the kill. Regardless, I think Mike Johnson is bigger than yours. Obviously, he didn't use that word. I'm just cleaning it up a little for you, for the YouTube purposes, but you get the gist. I bet I can make her climax. That wasn't the word that was used. Faster than you. What's up? Pac was appalled. What the fuck you talking about, nigga? Because if you watch Pac interviews, it kind of, that's my Pac thing in my head. I ain't trying to run no fucking train. Sean continued. What are you scared of? Let's see who. Let's see who fucks better. Let her be the judge. And then she gets into her thoughts. And what Pac said was, and I quote, because this is a quotation. So he said, nigga, you talking about pulling your fucking dick out? Now, for people that are Pac fans and seen his interviews or see his anger, I can picture this in my head going on right now. Like, I guess I'll use a 2024 word. Pac would crash out. And I mean, when he crashed out, he crashed out. There was no it was like blackout. So, at this point, I can picture him really crashing out on this. So he, and then Sean said, what, you scared? And Tupac just walked away. Now, as we go along, because I'm going to skip a little bit, then there was an alleged conversation between Diddy and Jimmy the Henchman. So, some of you guys that grew up with this in real time or a fan of this whole thing, you know what I'm getting at. Talking about the Quad Studio shooting and everything else like that. Because when AM did first talk about the book a little bit, he pointed out how, how the scenario could have went, and it sounds about correct, because the story does go that Pac owed Jimmy Henchman money, and that's alleged. And he was supposed to work with this artist in the studio. That's what brought him to the Quad Studio. From there, he was robbed, shot the first time, everything else like that. But yeah, that in that book, it spins back around to that whole situation later on in the book. But like something like that, I'm just like, it blew me away, because I was thinking to myself, how can you talk to somebody like Pac like that? Like, that was just crazy. And then the way he spoke to Biggie's mom, because there's a little insert when he talks about Biggie's mom. Man, listen, I don't even. It's like, I'm not laughing because it happened. I'm just like, I never read anything like that, and I can't even picture that. Like, like the way that things are painted, it is filling in some timelines. But I don't know if they're all her words. Like, it seems like some things are her words, and the way that's written, you may be able to tell or decipher apart. And then other, like I said, it seems like fluff, and I don't know, because, like, to me, the situation with Pac, that sounds like her words, because that's something Pac would say. That's just who he was. Like, that part right there, I believe. And, like, Well, I'll be sure he's gonna sue, I guess, to find out who these people are. Now, who do I suspect that wrote this book and has something to do with it? Because once I mean, I kind of knew it wasn't gonna be the real author's name, but I didn't know they were gonna use Pac's alias. Because on the internet right now, there's already rumors now that he's alive because of this, right? I mean, there was always rumors, but now they going back to that. The rumors are resurfacing that he's alive, and I wouldn't like nothing more than that, just as a fan. But you know, I came to terms with he's not, you know. But but there's so much, because I know what you guys like. I'm not gonna sit and read every single word because YouTube probably got some banned words and things like that, and I definitely can't. I definitely cannot do that because I don't want to get strucken down before I start climbing up the ladder of this YouTube journey and this YouTube game. But I also figured with the trial and everything going on, obviously the timing of all of this stuff, because it does confirm a lot of stuff. And, I got to throw in a little joke. There was nothing mentioned about baby oil in this book. So there's no Johnson and Johnson in here, no CVS brand, none of that, none of that baby oil stuff. You know, but so who do I think released this book, and what was the purpose of it? Because I do like to put on, as people would say, my conspiracy theory hat. I should go get some tinfoil and have a segment called Conspiracy Theory and put on my tinfoil hat and let me go. But I forgot to set that up, so we ain't gonna do that tonight. But my conspiracy theory hat, well, Gene Deal's on my list. Shout out to Gene Deal. I do like his stuff. I do. He tells a good story, and it's not saying there's stories that they're not true because they're his accounts. But like he's riveting. Like I really do like he with all these details. Sounds like he was there. And also Jaguar Wright. She's on my list. But the only reason why I would eliminate her is she probably would have released this a long time ago. Like, I don't see her holding something forever because it seems like it's not her style. It seems like that's what she does. Like, people say she's crazy and things like that. So, but this person who I suspect is gonna be like, it's gonna be weird. Well, I'll be sure made my list based off the article because like sometimes people like to throw red herrings, like to kind of throw you off the scent. And I forgot to put in the disclaimer real quick. This is my opinion. This is not facts. This is as far as who I think wrote this book. This is clearly my opinion because we don't know. We just know by the author, whatever. So, what better to throw the scent off of a book that's unauthorized and released or whatever the case may be is by making a lawsuit, say we need to find who these people are and this, that, and everything else like that. That'll throw the scent off everybody. But the person who I suspect is going to shock you. In my opinion, I feel that Kidida Jones held on to this. If this diary is all alleged and true, my suspect of releasing this, putting this out, is Kidida Jones. Now, before some of you guys look confused, well, who's that and everything else like that? Well, we'll start with that she's Quincy Jones's daughter. So we'll start there. And at the time of Pac's passing, she was she was his fiance. So now, when somebody's like your fiance or you've been dating and intimate and things of that nature, she would know that this was one of his aliases because picking this name is not random. So, she would know that. And then there is a chapter about her and what happened. That was some nasty work, but I'm glad. Seemed like Gene Deal stepped in and handled it. So shout out to him. I'll let you guys read that for yourself. Just make sure you have a drink ready when you read that chapter. That's all I'm gonna say to y'all. Have your vice ready. Like I said with that disclaimer with that one. But then, like I said, this is my conspiracy theory tinfoil. Just picture the tinfoil hat on my head right now. Now, my whole thing is, if this is based off a diary, how how could this stay hidden from Diddy? Because with this FBI and all that, they said he had cameras in the shower heads and all these creative places. So, in order for you to put cameras and stuff for the freak offs and all of that stuff, you had access to every nook and cranny. You mean to tell me you couldn't find a woman that you was with for years? I mean, I know they was off again, on again, and I think they lived apart or things of that nature. But that part always, as I was reading this, I'm like, this dude never found this. And then, of course, the conspiracy theory part is that Diddy was responsible for, allegedly, they're trying to say all the Uptown alumni, Diddy deleted them in all different ways and this, that, and that's all alleged because I don't know. I'm not gonna even touch that. But so those are the things that stuck out. When he talked about J Lo was mentioned in this book. Girl, I don't know. Get your team on this. That's all I'm gonna say. Shine, he's mentioned in this book with that whole situation with Club New York. That's probably gonna resurface, and the stuff with Biggie. As a fan, you always saw them together and everything, and some of the stuff that was said in here, from a fan level and from what I saw, it broke my heart. It kind of did. Because, I mean, he did tribute songs for him and this, that, and everything else like that. And some of the things he said was disingenuous at best. Well, I won't even say at best. That's me being polite. Because I was appalled by some of the things that he would say. And especially, if this is all true, like I said earlier, how he talked about his mom, but he said something that let me see, because that's something I'm even gonna yeah, I'll give this part away a little bit, right? So this is the chapter after, was it after Pac? Yeah, this is the chapter after Pac. And so I'll set the stage a little bit so I can read the insert. This was a February evening that they went out to eat. They were in private booth and everything. And I guess Diddy was on the phone. And this is allegedly what he said, according to Kim Porter's words. We're going to release Who Shot You Now. He's waiting for a response. And then he went on to say, of course they're gonna think Big is talking about Pac. That's the whole fucking point. No one would give a fuck about a diss track against LL fucking Cool J. Do you know how much money we'll make with this kind of rap beef? Niggas battling after somebody gets shot. I mean, and this is where it gets construed because some of us hip hop heads and everything else like that, the original Who Shot You was meant to be, I believe. Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, because I am going offhand. This is off script, of course. It's supposed to be LL Cool J, Keith Murray, and Big. So, with that, if obviously LL Cool J released his own version of Who Shot You, right? And then, so there's it's three separations. So, like I said, LL Cool J released a song "Who Shot You" on his own take on it. Keith Murray is the Keith Murray interlude on Mary J. Blige's "My Life" album. It's called the Keith Murray interlude, and that was kind of dope. Like Keith Murray he flexed on that. Shout out to Keith Murray on that. But the story goes, that the first verse from Biggie's "Who Shot You" was the verse that was supposed to be on the actual song with that collabo, and I think LL Cool J was supposed to follow, I guess, in the verse order, and he heard the Biggie track, was like, I ain't going after that, like, because if you go back and listen to the first verse, like, you could tell it was all part of the song. But then if you listen to the second verse closely, you could tell like I wouldn't say the flow or the cadence changed up, but you could tell it wasn't original part of the song. So it was meant to be like, well, back in the 90s they were called posse cuts. That's what they used to call them. They used to call them posse cuts. But it was supposed to be like a collabo that so. And this is what I mean by like, and maybe it's supposed to look like that she was disinterested in like hip hop or whatever. She was just about his relationship. Maybe it was meant to throw off, and that's where the fluff maybe comes in, because the real hip hop heads kind of know that. And I'm probably gonna read this book again because, like, for an example, right? I'll give you another example, and this is actually on the first page, I believe. Intro, beginnings. Because I forgot about something. Okay, yeah. So, she was talking about how he had his first artist with Bad Boy. That well, I mean, Diddy had his first artist on Bad Boy, and this was like, if this is all like her words, he picked up Craig Mack and some rapper from the West Coast called Notorious B1 to help Chris develop. So I remember. I remember there was a guy that was influencing. They talked about it on YouTube called B1. Like he was supposed to be like the Biggie influence and things like that. And when I read it the first time, I was like, everybody know Bi? Because see, I saw it as one. Because I'll be honest, I did read some of it without my glasses, and I had to go back and read it with my glasses. But that I thought it said Bi when I originally read it, and I was like, he's not from the West Coast, he's from Brooklyn. Everybody know, he used to always say Brooklyn in the house, you know. But so those kind of things that with the B1, and so that's why I was kind of like, is this all really her own words, or is this a little fluff? because I am going to bring it back to when I was talking about Kadada, because Kadada Jones, Kimora Lee Simmons, and Kim Porter, they were like girlfriends. They That's one thing I will say, that I believe that some of their talk is legit, like her words, because the way it is, like they are for the most part all through the book per se, and especially her and Kimora Lee Simmons, like you could tell they were genuine friends, if anything of that nature. So, do I believe some of this stuff is true? Yeah. Do I believe some of this stuff is fluff? Yeah. But the real question is, are the feds is going to take this book off the shelf and use this to convict him besides the evidence that they have? That's the question we have to stay tuned for, with all of that kind of stuff. But not going to keep you guys long, because I know, like I always like to say, like the long videos, I know the attention span is a little harder to keep the audience engaged on the things we talk about, because I could talk about a lot more with this stuff, and just knowing some of these stories and some of these things, that this is one of those, stay tuned, because not for nothing, all of this stuff coming all over the place, the FBI is busy. This is a busy time. I mean, I don't know what's going on. We just got to see. I guess it's an amazing time to be alive. But if you're traveling home listening to my words, have safe travels. If you want to pick up the book as of right now, because as the time that I doing this video and releasing this video, that it's on Amazon. So get your copy if you want to get into it. It's Kim's Lost Words by Jamal T. Millward for Kim Porter. Like I said, all of the stuff is alleged. I'm going to leave it up to you to formulate your own opinion. But my opinion on this was, it was an eye-opener on some things. And because there are some things I do believe that happen that are true, that are definitely true in this book. But then some things aren't. But we'll see. We'll see what's used and what's not used, and let's see if they let the author come out. So remember, this is all alleged. That's all I pretty much have to say at this moment in time. Maybe I'll do a part 2. Maybe I'll reread the book. Maybe talk about a different segment within the book. But like, comment, subscribe, share this video, like this video. Let's keep the train rolling. Let's get the subscribers going. Let's get everything going. Thank you.